Final round. Spider-Man No Way Home. Where are my spoiler banners? So I
If
don't
you
have
haven't
to worry
watched
about
it,
it
just
again.
leave because I'm talking about it. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm talking about the
I'm
whole thing.
spoiling the shit
I'm
out
talking
of
about
it.
the whole thing.
I don't fucking care.
Whole thing.
I cried front to back,
Dude,
the whole movie.
I told you this in our little chat, and I'll say it again. I was so irked that somebody was sitting within earshot of me when they first sat down, and then I was just like, I guess I'll just deal with it, you know. There's so many empty seats, sons of bitches. But like the minute I heard them start sniffling and crying and like saying, "How could this be Saturday the second time?" I'm like, all right, I'm surrounded by true fans. They're here for a second viewing. Let's all cry together.
I saw this movie
So good.
in a packed theater. Every single seat was packed. I saw it opening day,
Right, you saw
and
it. Was it Thursday?
while I understand Thursday, I saw it Thursday at 3 o'clock.
That's right.
Or 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, right before the show. Because I came on the show and I was like completely, I couldn't think.
Emotional
And
damage.
and I look, I mean, yeah, there's a pandemic going on. I'm double vaxxed. My wife's double vaxxed, boosted, masks on, everything. Yeah, the theater was fucking packed. Every seat was taken. When they're in the fucking house, they're in the apartment, and you see the fucking cane, the theater erupts,
Dude.
because everybody know it's Matt Murdock. And then you see
My
Charlie
arms
Cox,
went
and
in
you're
there.
like,
My
I'm
arms
in.
went there.
I'm screaming. I'm crying. This is incredible. And like you have that, and then he catches it, and like Pete's like, "How'd you do that?" And he's like, "I'm a pretty good lawyer." And I was
Yes.
like, "This is incredible." So like getting Vincent D'Onofrio back as fucking Kingpin, getting Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock, opening the door for
Nice.
Luke Cage and for Jessica Jones and for The Hand, Elektra, Stick. I'm not going to say Iron Fist because they're not going to bring back Danny
Nope.
Rand. I know that like
Nope.
nobody liked Danny Rand,
got Shang-Chi.
especially that actor.
You don't need to even
Right, we
try to
got
bring
Shang-Chi.
Danny Rand.
If they do another Iron Fist, they'll do it based on the new Iron Fist, who is of Asian descent,
Hell yeah.
and it'll tie into Shang-Chi. I cried so like this the theater was just like Endgame for me. Like people, I have to watch it again because I missed so much dialogue because the theater erupted when fucking Andrew Garfield walked through the portal.
Dude.
And they cheered, and then as soon as he took the mask off, it was game over. Everybody screaming. And
Dude, I love the fact that. All right, so we'll back it up. So first off,
yeah.
obviously there's so many. This is a multiverse crossover. All these different villains, all these different Spider-Men that we now are telling everybody here. Spoiler alert about Colleen Wing as Iron Fist. Yes. So many different things crossed over, but somebody pointed out to me that what's his name? Nelson Fogg.
Alfred Molina.
No, what's Daredevil's Matt Murdock's partner's name? Foggy Nelson. Foggy Nelson in the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck was
played by John Favreau.
So fantastic. So that was also awesome. So you get that already. Plus, I just watched the fucking end of Hawkeye, so we got the same Kingpin, we got the same Daredevil. Let's get that. But we got the villains coming back, the way they came back, even just a little bit of piecing together how Jamie Foxx's Electro materialized back again. The same, and it wasn't. What sucked was like I found out after the fact that the guy who plays Sandman, it wasn't even really him. Like the footage of him was like from the previous film. They just repurposed, But overall, the story was great. The interaction with him and Doctor Strange was great. And just such little nuances that you don't notice is like while he's casting the spell, and every time there's an extra piece of like conditions that Peter's got to add to it, there's a ring for people to remember who he is. So there's 5 conditions, but there were 6 rings. So that 6th ring is, we all assume, Doctor Strange wanted to remember he's Peter. So you're like, oh. Yeah. Even at the end, he's like, I love you. You're like, dude, so good. Even the treatment of them coming in, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, because everybody's like, oh, Tobey was the better Peter Parker, whereas Andrew Garfield was the better Spider-Man. What do they show up as?
Yeah.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yeah. Like everything in that movie, Ned being magical is playing into the fact that he's probably going to end up as Hobgoblin, especially with the end of the movie, and they don't remember who he is anymore. You have that. You have Aunt May being essentially the Uncle Ben of the MCU, and getting killed off by fucking Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. I mean,
wild.
And then like, Peter, and then Tom Holland's Peter Parker going into a fucking blind rage, and he's beating the shit out of him, and he's laughing,
Willem
and
Dafoe's
he's fucking laughing
teeth,
the whole time.
Just
oh my god, he was so good.
That face,
he was so goddamn good.
Insane smile,
and
I love it.
And like I said, the theater erupted at a few points when Alfred Molina showed up as Doc Ock, and then you see the fucking the bomb, the pumpkin bomb. Yeah, the Stark Tech. Yeah, when the pumpkin bomb showed up, the theater erupted, and you hear the laugh, and you're like, "Fuck, this is incredible."
It takes him out.
And it's when like you see and I kind of like I felt it as soon as like Ned was like Peter Parker, I'm like, it's not gonna be Tom.
Yep.
It's gonna be one of them. And then like you see the Spider-Man, and you can tell from like him in the back, you're like, that's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
He's way taller.
And then he jumps through, and everybody's fucking freaking out. And you can't. And apparently he starts talking, but you can't hear his voice because everybody's screaming in the theater. And then he takes off the mask, and it's fucking Andrew Garfield, and everybody erupts. And then like he does it again, and Tobey Maguire walks through, and you're like, God damn. Andrew. So, Willem Dafoe was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Tobey Maguire was incredible. Alfred Molina was incredible. Andrew Garfield stole the fucking show.
Of course.
When he saved
crying.
Mary Jane, and he starts crying, and he's like just geeked out to be there and all that. I mean, the fucking hero shot of them swinging, and like Tom Holland throws them. And then they land in the order of which they appeared Spider-Man. It's Toby, Andrew, and Tom. And I'm like,
oh, thank God for the mask, because I was weeping. Like, it was catching all the tears. Just I was sitting there like, like acting like I was trying not to cough, but really I'm just like uncontrollably sobbing. Just the top of my mask is gray, but it was black by the end because it was just straight soaked. Like
the way that they've handled these movies as being 3 movies worth of an origin story for Spider-Man is insane. You don't see the spider bite, you don't get Uncle Ben, but it's an origin story. Like by the end of the movie, when everybody forgets that he's Peter Parker and he's in his apartment in New York City in Manhattan, and he has the police scanner phone, and he's in the classic Spider-Man suit, and he's swinging through Rockefeller Plaza.
Shithole. Like it's like that original like, Toby apartment after living with Harry, and that guy's where's the rent?
Yeah,
I
was just like, dude, this is the origin story for Spider-Man, and apparently this is just an appetizer for Multiverse of Madness.
I heard Toby's coming back, which why wouldn't you? And if that's true, then the question is, does Strange remember that Spider-Man? But he doesn't remember.
Or does that Strange
Spider-Man?
The other
Strange.
So Mike said Andrew catching MJ will always get me. I cried like a fucking baby when as soon as MJ started falling, and then the glider hits Tom, and you see Andrew, and I'm getting choked up now. You see Andrew scream no, and he just jumps and he grabs her, and I was like, this is.
Well, like my favorite little like tiny nuance of that scene is when you realize he's thought about it for years, because he doesn't let the web speed try to catch her. He webs down to the building and pulls himself. He's just, I'm going to fall on the ground. He might get a web up and save himself, but he's just like, I'm going to get her first.
It's the one time that so I watched all of the Spider-Man recently. And when Gwen Stacy dies, That is the one time he uses the web to try to catch her. In all of the Sam Raimi movies with Tobey Maguire, Toby actually grabs Mary Jane when she falls. And then in this one, it's that I would love for Andrew to come back. I would love for the whole multiverse of madness shakeup. I would love for Emma Stone to come back as Gwen from another universe as Spider Gwen,
Beach.
and that be the Sony Spider Man universe, like with Tom Hardy's Venom and Andrew Garfield as Spider Man and Gwen Stacy as Spider Gwen, and she's his other half at that point. I think that would be really cool. Um, yeah, I can't. I want to go see this movie again. I got like I said, we've been on fucking quarantine because Ashley and I have come into contact with people with COVID. We had to get tested a few times. Then we got sick, and thankfully we haven't caught COVID. But like we're just chomping at the bit to fucking watch this movie again.
I want to see it
Like,
again, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Mike Mahaffey does drive a great question. Since there is no Oscorp in the MCU, where did the spider
yeah,
come from?
where and who bought the goddamn Avengers Tower?
It's gotta be Glenn Howerton. He's the only man with an ego big enough to need a huge building. And I love the fact
Yeah,
that the little sprinkle of like Yelena being like, I'm here, see the sides, like the new improved Statue of Liberty, And then, of course, we watch Spider Man. There it is, holding up the Captain America shield. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Little Easter eggs. So good. What else was it? And I mentioned it to you, and having confirmed a little bit of like the Rogers musical signs throughout Spider-Man. Just
yeah.
I'm loving the detail, and I really do hope that we get continuations with Echo for Charlie Cox. Obviously, he's Daredevil, and we get back our Foggy Nelson. We get back what's her face from True Blood.
Deborah Ann Wall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But no,
Yep.
it's Miles Morales. He's got to be coming. He's got to be coming.
I mean, they even mentioned a fucking black Spider-Man and goddamn
Mike
Spider-Man
Mahaffey
No
just
Way.
said
Jamie Foxx.
Wilson Fisk bought Avengers Tower. How dope would that be?
That would be sweet too.
It said he says
I'm
it
here
says
for
it's my
like.
city. Why wouldn't he?
I love what Marvel's doing, and I've said this before: is that you have essentially three threads in Marvel right now. You have the cosmic level of threat, which is where Shang-Chi and Eternals and Loki, all of that is building towards, where it's going to be Kang the Conqueror,
Secret
possibly
Wars.
Galactus, Secret Wars, all that stuff. Then you have like the New York level shit, which is, Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Echo, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Kingpin, all of that. And then you have the Young Avengers, which is Kate Bishop, a Patriot. And then even at this point, and there's a fourth thread, you have the goddamn Thunderbolts because they've already got US Agent, Abomination, and fucking the symbiote is still in the goddamn MCU.
And don't forget the fifth bit, the
And
microverse.
Yelena.
Yeah, well, that's six. But the microverse.
And yeah, the microverse with Quantum Mania. Like, yeah, there's so much shit going on in the MCU right now. I'm like feeding me. Just keep giving me shit.
I'm glad that there is now going to be more generations and a wider audience that will now know the suffering that each comic book reader has known since they started. You'll never have enough money. You'll never have enough time to read or watch it all. You never will. There's going to be 15 different angles and routes, and you can read a comic, and all of a sudden it'll say star as reference in issue number 255 of blah blah blah, and you're like, fuck. Now I got to go try to find this freaking what? Wonder what happened there, and you find it, and now you're down another rabbit hole. You got a whole another box, a long box of comics that you just wanted to read for that one little tidbit, and then you just blew another $100. Welcome to my
Dude,
pain.
and the fact that the Russo brothers are now potentially attached to Secret Wars.
The picture
And
you
I mean,
shared today with Dr. Doom,
dude,
so good.
That's like
So good.
I just read Secret Wars, the newest version of Secret Wars, and like that whole scene, Thanos comes, he's all like, "I'm Thanos, bitch," and Doom's like, "I don't give a fuck who you are," and he's like, "Do you have the Infinity Gauntlet?" And he's like, "Nah, but it doesn't matter," and he's like, "Frankly, it doesn't," and then he just grabs, fucking rips his spine out. This is incredible.
When I first saw the little thumbnail, I thought it was going to be Moon Knight, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But even Moon Knight,
Nah, yeah,
yeah, I'm like, "What kind of weird
you get Doom,
crossover is this,
dude.
bro?"
I can't fucking wait for. Yeah, like I think they're built. Like I think we're gonna get Doctor Doom soon, and I have no idea who they would even remotely cast. Like
Oh, we could spend all that.
I
Time
heard
all
like
evening on that.
Killian Murphy was being thrown around for it. Like I would fucking love Killian Murphy as Doctor
What?
Doom. He like I watched. I've been trying to get into Peaky Blinders for like fucking years at this point, and I've watched the first couple of episodes, and I'm like, dude, he is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I loved him in
Mm-hmm.
Batman. I loved him in Inception. I'm like, dude, Killian Murphy's incredible. Put him in everything.
Dude, Killian Murphy, my favorite line, and granted, it's all over the internet, and it's whatever season. Many seasons of that show, Peaky Blinders. But the line is like, "Well, why are we doing this?" And he's like, "Because we can. Because we fucking can." That's anytime somebody's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" Because I can. Because I fucking can. Shit's so good.
Oh, apparently Mike said they've been planning Secret War since Endgame wrapped, and by they I mean the Russos. All right,
I agree with that. I can
give
see
me
that.
the Russos pound for pound have put out the best Marvel movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, granted, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home is incredible and it's a masterpiece, and the guy who did Spider-Man No Way Home is doing Fantastic Four, which is going to be incredible. But I mean, where did the Russo brothers started with Winter Soldier, right? They did Winter
Believe
Soldier,
so.
Civil
Believe so.
War, Endgame, and Infinity War.
Yeah. But
I mean, the
to
first
be
Captain America
fair,
is my least favorite movie
they're
in the
massive
MCU.
ensemble movies with a bunch of actors with big old egos if they have them at all. Then most normal one person director would be crushed by the weight of that. But you got two, you got brothers. They are
Yeah.
hive mind.
Yeah,
That's
I
why.
can't wait.
That's why it works. That's why it works.
I want.
Shit, man. I even
mean, it worked
follow
with
their fucking
the
their company
Wachowskis.
online. Online. Oh yeah. Well, they were brothers too at the time, so
Yeah.
that's why only Lana can take it forward. You know, you crush it. But fuck, man, what a good movie! Like every time I talk about a little bit of a scene, I get verklempt. Same thing with Ghostbusters. I'm telling you, dude, watch it by yourself.
I'm gonna watch it this
in the
weekend, and we
dark.
will fucking talk about
Just
it.
shut the
I
door.
can't wait
Don't
to
let
watch it.
anybody see you cry like a baby. It's gonna be so good. I really hope my parents never watch it because they'll just never stop crying. Like just. But yeah, I digress.
Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies, so I'm really excited to watch it.
I have a friend who he literally met his now wife, mother of his kids, because he was at a party and Ghostbusters was on. He's only a few years older than us. And the song Ghostbusters was on. And this random girl was dancing with him while they were dancing, and she screams, "Bustin' makes me feel good," right at the same time he does. And that's how they meet. And the rest is history. So yeah,
There you go.
You can't tell me it's not a great film. I love it.
Hell yeah.
But guess what, man? Final rounds means it's over.
Tight show, hour and a
love it.
half.
Well, dude, it's
Tight show.
It's 2022, right?
Yeah,
We've made it. We got through how many different pages of show notes? Thank you. Shout out to Mahaffey, our guy in the chair, show producer.
Yeah.
7 pages of show notes. I did not read
Yeah, we
most of
killed
it
it.
because I'm illiterate. Which, by the way, speaking of illiteracy, if you haven't seen the latest season of It's Always Sunny, you should watch it. Glenn Howerton, once again.
masterclass.
Well, my point is, Charlie Day is supposedly always illiterate. Can't write, can't read. So you have to watch it. You know, a lot of things make
Yeah.
sense. I can't wait to watch episode 2 of Boba Fett. I can't wait to watch half the stuff that's on this list that I haven't seen. Play these games this year.
I know.
A lot. There's so much stuff coming out. Again, I feel the weight of it. But I'm so excited about it. And I just hope
Yeah.
that we don't have to go through another Transformer name fucking variant for me to see this goddamn movie. or any movie.
Yeah.
Or buy a game or get an Xbox. I want to go back to the time where I could beep boop boop boop, work my job, get my pay, buy my stuff. Beep boop boop.
I've been trying to buy a MacBook for fucking months and I can't get one. Like I have to. It keeps getting pushed back and pushed back.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Supply chain fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, I treated myself with my one little gift to myself for Christmas was a iPad Mini. You're right. Why iPad Mini? Because I couldn't find a fucking Xbox, and I was like, I
You
want
couldn't
an iPad
get
Mini.
anything else.
Yeah, I really couldn't. I was like, I'm just gonna iPad Mini. I'm gonna read more. I'm gonna get my comic book reader apps. I'm gonna start going through these comic books. I'm gonna have something that's small. Zip,
Do it.
zip. And you know what? It's not gonna come in for like a month and a half. Even that's got bumped. Now, granted, silicone makes sense.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. One day we'll return. But we're gonna keep watching. We're gonna keep talking about things on Disney Plus, on Netflix, on Hulu, on all those brands. And we really hope that you like this show and like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Mahaffey, for being there in the chat today. Mike, whatever. I love, by the way, his avatar on every platform. It's just, it's so ridiculous. I'm always just like,
I think that's from back in the day.
yeah, I'm always just like, who is this that's liking my tweets? And I'm like, oh, it's Mike, whatever. Like, because his avatar is just ridiculous. But yeah, looking forward to it. 2022, bigger, better, faster, stronger. It's going to be good, man. Just like that hair. Bigger, better, faster, stronger.
I know, it's getting out of control.
It's good, though. It's good. All right, man. Once again, I'm Ernie Hawkins at Ernie UXD.
I'm Dom Irvin at Hemophilia.
I love that name. Now I'm in love with it. It's grown on me.
It's so good.
We are Joystick Maverick on everything else. Talk to you next time. Peace, guys.
See ya.